expert news and views on the Lowcountry real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, folks, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I always like to take a moment and just say that I really appreciate those that listen to this program and then call for some more information or just allow us to help you in any way, shape, or form. This show is designed to just be a resource to help educate and to separate kind of the buzz and the fluff and all the stuff that agents say to try and get you to buy or sell a home, try and motivate you to do so. These are just the facts. This is just how it is. And so on this show, I get to be as blunt as I would like to be, as blunt as I kind of normally am, kind of naturally. And a lot of folks appreciate that. Some folks, I'm sure, don't. But hey, this is me. And I've been doing this for a decade. It seems to be pretty well received, so we're going to keep rolling with that. But I do appreciate those of you that listen to this program, really do. So if I can ever help in any way, whether it's, acting as your real estate agent in some way, shape, or form, or just being a resource for you. You need a contractor, you need a fill in the blank. I've got a guy. So happy to help in any way I can. The number to call, by the way, if you want to reach me, or text me is 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Website is listingsincharleston.com. You can, of course, search the MLS, find out more about our team, find out how many buyers we have for your home right now. We've got a really cool piece of technology that allows us to kind of go through our database and say, of all the people that are on our website that are looking at properties that we have contact info for, how many of them would be looking for a home like yours? And so you can do that on our website, listingsincharleston.com. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk. There was a really interesting article that came out on Business Insider. It was talking about real estate agents. And, the title, if you want to kind of check it out on your own, is A Brutal Reckoning for Real Estate Agents. Many won't survive the housing crunch. And so it goes on and it talks about, and I think really does a good job of clarifying what happens with the typical real estate agent. And so here's what was really interesting. Agents with less than 2 years of experience earned a median gross income of just $8,800 in 2021. And that's coming from the National Association of Realtors, by the way. We have an incredible amount of people that see what's happening in the real estate market and say, you know what, I'm going to get my piece of that pie. I'm going to get a license. I'm going to sell some homes. I'm going to get some fat checks. It's a lot harder than it looks. Real estate is a contact sport. I always tell folks that I'm in two businesses. I'm in the business of helping people buy and sell real estate, and I'm in the business of finding people to help buy and sell real estate. When you get really good at marketing your properties, know how to find buyers for properties, use all this incredible advancements in technology that we've had over the past few years for the benefit of your client, that's what separates you from the competition. And then, of course, you've got things like experience, customer service, your integrity, your passion for the job, communication, which is always an issue in this industry. And it's so this article kind of goes on to say that, the number of real estate agents grew by over 150,000 people in 2020 and 2021. And it peaked at 1.6 million members of the National Association of Realtors. And by the way, everybody that sells real estate is not a realtor. A realtor is a designation. You pay for it. There are plenty of folks that have real estate licenses that are not realtors. Realtors, subscribe to a higher code of ethics, and there are more severe consequences for breaking those codes of ethics. But if we kind of go back for a second, and we kind of take a look at the chaos of 2008 and that just real estate cycle. In 2006 alone, the National Association of Realtors added a little more than 100,000 members, and it reached its peak at that point in time of 1.4 million members. But by early 2012, it had gone down to about 950,000 members, 964,000 to be exact. And so you had these massive amount of agents that entered the market that wanted to get a little piece of the pie. Maybe they knew some people that were going to be selling or buying and moving in the next few months or year or so, and they say, hey, I might as well be a real estate agent and benefit from the commission. Or maybe they were going to buy and sell on their own and they wanted a piece of that pie. Rather than having an agent get the commission, maybe they wanted to get that for themselves, which is great, which is fine. It's a great way to save some money. There are quite a few things you have to do in order to get a real estate license, money you have to spend, time you have to spend, so on and so forth. But I can see how some of this makes sense. But there will be an overwhelming amount of people here in the next few months that will exit this industry. It happens every time we top out and then the market starts to either stagnate or show signs of going down a little bit. And that's kind of where we are right now. And so the reality is, as these agents enter the market and realize that there's this kind of overwhelming majority of people that maybe they'd like to do something, they'd like to move. There's a want there, but there's not a need, right? They don't need to sell their house. They don't need to go and buy another house. If they could find something, it would make sense, so long as the stars align and there's, kind of a very non-resistant path to get into that new home. But so many folks have interest rates that are, 3 or lower percent on their primary residence that it's like, is it really worth it to go and spend an extra $1,500 a month, an extra $2,000 a month on our mortgage payments for something that's a little nicer, a little bigger, a little better? Or could we do something else with that money? Are we okay where we're at right now? And I think a lot of folks are in the position of, I want my 3% mortgage more than I want a bigger, better house. And I'm one of them. I'm going to be one of those folks that probably stays in my home for 30 years. I don't have any intention of moving ever. We got to our kind of final destination a little sooner than we thought we were going to. But there's no need for us to move. And so many other folks are in that same boat that it's making it really hard for real estate agents to find those transactions. And what's happened over the past several years, really more like the past 10 years to the real estate industry in general, is the emergence of real estate teams, right? It used to just be a bunch of individuals selling real estate. And it used to be, back before the mid 90s, there weren't really buyer agents before the mid 90s. They were just agents. They represented the seller and the buyer, dual agents. Then the emergence of buyer agents came out. And then real estate teams started to form, and then companies realized, hey, this makes a lot of sense. Let's create some training on how to run your business like a business. That's what I coach people on, by the way. I'm a national real estate coach for a company and help folks that have teams that are selling up to 150 homes a year already that want to sell more, that need to systematize their business. And that's the big challenge that so many agents have is, they go from being an operator to an owner. Right? They go from being slightly entrepreneurial to then owning this business, and they've got no acumen for it. They've got no systems for it. The training that's been around at this stage has been fairly aged. And it's just a hard market for someone that doesn't really know anyone, that doesn't know a lot about marketing, that doesn't have a budget to spend on leads to create opportunity for them to thrive. And so what's going to happen is a lot of these folks are going to just basically get out of the market. And the other problem is the fact that there's hardly anything for sale. So you've got this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of these people that are saying, I would sell my home if I could find the right place, but I can't find the right place. So I don't want to put my home on the market and run the risk of selling it. And I understand that mentality, that way of thinking. But there is a huge opportunity for folks out there that are willing to be not even just a little bit risky, because you can protect yourself contractually. Here's what I'm getting at. You know how when you go to buy a house, but you need to sell your home first, there's something called a home sale contingency, which basically says, hey, I'll buy your house as soon as I sell mine. But I want you to, sign this contract with me. I don't want you to sell to anybody else, but you're going to give me some time to sell my house. That hasn't gone over too well over the past few years as this market's just been red hot. But what I'm shocked at is the number of sellers out there that don't have a home purchase contingency. In other words, put your home on the market. If someone's willing to pay your price, awesome. But you have a caveat that says, hey, I'll agree to sell you my house, but I need X amount of time to go and find a replacement property. And if I can't find one, then we'll kill this deal because I'm not going to sell it to you if I don't have somewhere else to go. You can protect yourself contractually. I can't even remember the last time I saw something on the MLS that had a home purchase contingency attached to the listing. It's a huge opportunity for folks. But what's happening is no one wants to put their home on the market for the threat of selling it before they're ready to buy something else. Therefore, we have low inventory. So what's the solution to that? The solution is whoever has the biggest database wins is basically how I look at it. You know, we have two different databases on our team. We have one that's got almost 27,000 people in it. And those are full of folks that we communicate with on a regular basis, that are looking at properties, that we've done business with, folks that we know, folks that have been referred to us, so on and so forth. That's like our active database. Then we have another database full of 370,000 people that own properties here locally, or, you know, in kind of fringe areas. That's a pretty big footprint in terms of all this contact information we have for all these folks. But when somebody says, hey, I want to buy a home in this area with these specifics, we've already got the contact information for the folks that own those types of properties. And then we have folks, surprise, surprise, just call them, see if they want to sell their house. So the challenge that a lot of these agents have, and why a lot of these agents are going to get out of the business, is they don't have a database. They haven't systematized their business. They don't have enough opportunity, or they can't afford to create opportunity, or they're on a team that's poorly run that has not figured out a way to connect the dots between someone interested in buying a home and someone interested in selling a home. What they've gotten used to is just, well, we'll just throw it up on the MLS and it'll get swarmed by buyers. There's not a lot of marketing that's going to happen there because they don't feel they need to. The market's going to sell it no matter what. Same thing with buyers. Hey, I'm going to set up a search for you, and each time you see a new listing that you like, just let me know. I'll go and I'll open the door for you. You want to make an offer, we'll make an offer. They're not out there proactively identifying properties for you that are off market. They're just relying on you to check your email and see if you see something you like. And then they'll give you the information, but it's a very reactive approach. And there's not all real estate agents are like that. Every agent is different. Every market is different. It's up to you to determine what's important to you about the agent you choose to hire, and then what they bring to the table. What are your non-negotiables? What is it that you're really looking for? If you'd like to interview me as your agent, I'm up for the challenge. We just had a really tough interview with some folks that did not pull punches on their questions, and I loved every second of it because I said, you know what? Regardless of whether I get this listing or not, these sellers are prepared. They know what they want. They're informed, and they're not going to take any lip service from anybody. You've got to do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, that business is gone and that opportunity is gone. And so I encourage people to interview, to be tough on agents, make them prove things. Don't just let them talk. So anyways, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk for just a few more minutes about what's going on here in our little corner of the world in Charleston, South Carolina. And if you want to reach out to me, 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Call or text. Or visit us online, listingsincharleston.com, listingsincharleston.com, or email me, brian@brianbeattyteam.com. Stick around for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.